Your emotions are not the enemy. If you've ever told yourself just to ignore your emotions while you're trading, it might be one of the biggest mistakes you can make. But you're probably thinking, well, aren't we supposed to just forget about our emotions and trade logically? Well, yeah. But if you suppress these emotions and you resist these emotions that are obviously happening to you, they will persist and they will become stronger. So resisting emotion pushes you further away. Things like frustration and overconfidence and fear don't just disappear because you tell them to. Just because you say to yourself before you start trading, oh, I'm not going to be emotional today, doesn't mean that those emotions just go away. Like, they don't just pack it up for the day and say, ah, fuck. He said he's not going to be emotional. We're gone. Doesn't work like that. And the more you resist them, the stronger they will be. Think of it like this analogy of when you push a ball underwater. And so you have the water here, maybe. And you have the ball. You push it down. It just flings straight back up when you do that. Like, you push it under the water, then it goes boom. It's up here. Now, why is that? Well, you're resisting that buoyancy when you push it under, and then the buoyancy just pushes it back up. And that's just the same for emotions. You push it under the water, it'll just fling back up. So the harder you push, the more things persist. Your emotions are not your enemy. They're more like signals. Fear can warn you of risk. Frustration can warn you of overtrading, revenge trading, or it can lead to that. And greed as well can also teach you a few things about who you are and your mindset. I just want to go back to this one. Focus is the centralization of energy. Focusing on suppressing your emotions centralizes that energy to persist against you. And like, this is pretty real, because the amount of times that I would come in to the market, I would have a shit day the day before. Let's say I had a shit day on Tuesday. I took like 5 trades, 5 losses. And then I come in on Wednesday and I say to myself, okay, we're going to read my trading plan and we're just going to be logical and remove any fear, remove this doubt, remove all of this emotion. And then I take 5 losses again. And it's funny, I'd take 10 or something ridiculous. Like, in my early days, definitely would have done something like that. And ignoring these emotions, these signals, is ignoring valuable information about yourself and about how you react to certain situations. Which is how you can mold your trading plan to be individualized. And if you don't understand yourself, how can you expect to understand the market? Like, seriously. Seriously. How can you sit there and just block these things out when it's telling you something valuable that you can take on? Like, doesn't make sense. And what do they tell you? Well, if you're frustrated, it leads to revenge trading. And what does that tell you? If you're operating under fear and you're hesitating, what's that telling you? You might not have the clarity. You might not have the conviction. This is telling you that you're just greedy and that you're dumb for just trying to push against that frustration. And the impact of this resistance is, you're feeding these emotions. You're just feeding them. The principle of non-resistance will teach us that pushing against the flow just creates more turbulence. Fear becomes hesitation. Frustration leads to revenge trading, and the more you push, the more control that they'll have over you, and you just won't be able to find, you won't know that. You'll be sitting there oblivious because you think that you've blocked out these emotions, right? And you're a stoic trader. You're like this guy that has no emotion. I don't know. I've seen people say some crazy shit. Some people say if they take ashwagandha, they will be a better trader. Anything but back testing, anything but forward testing, right? It's fucking ridiculous. Just makes me laugh. But I mean, it's true. People do anything except do the work. And all I'm basically trying to say is the more you push against these things, the more they're just going to act against you. That's all I probably needed to say. This video doesn't need to be 10 minutes. But, okay, now what's the solution? Pretty simple. It's not to suppress these emotions, but to embrace them. Self-mastery begins with self-awareness. And you start by acknowledging what you're feeling. And then ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Pretty simple, right? So you're going to acknowledge the emotion that you're acting out of. Right? Whether it's hesitation, it's probably fear. If you're frustrated, revenge trading. Or if it's something like greed, it can also lead to revenge trading. Well, not so much revenge trading, but over trading would be greed. They're two different things. Revenge trading is just when you take a loss and then you try and get back those wins, but over trading is giving back the wins. So you have a loss and you're chasing the wins. You're chasing the wins. Or you have a winner that leads to giving it all back in losses. That's over trading versus revenge trading. I don't know if anyone's taught you that, but so you acknowledge what you're acting out of. If it's fear, frustration, greed, and then identify the cause of it and what it's signaling. If you've got a journal, if you use a daily journal where you write your thoughts on the market and you go and review it after the end of the day, add this in, right? Just a small little acknowledge, understand, act. What emotion can you acknowledge? What do you understand about it? What does it teach you? And use that information to inform your trading decisions and not control them. That's basically it. And to ultimately not suppress, not destroy these emotions, but to ultimately embrace them, you need to, work on your journaling, emotional journaling, to acknowledge that you're a greedy, to just acknowledge that, yeah, I am a greedy cunt. Like, I am a scared, I'm a fucking bitch, right? I can't take a trade. I'm a bitch. All this kind of, acknowledge what you are, and then use that to your advantage. I can't stress that enough. It's so simple. And working with these emotions you can meditate, you can journal, you can set these emotional boundaries, but I mean, really, it's more about journaling. I do agree with meditating though; it is good. If you, it's completely up to you though. I know traders that are fine without it, but for me, it works really good just to block out any of that. I say block out emotion when it comes to meditating, which is basically against what I'm trying to say, but it definitely does help. I guess not so much suppress, but it helps you acknowledge it, but it lets you not act out of that emotion, which is ultimately what we're trying to do. We're not trying to act out of these emotions, we're just trying to act out of a logical trading plan. So, mastering your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. You just have to understand them. And I probably sound like a broken record, but it's just how it is. It's not about eliminating these emotions, it's about, building that relationship with them. And mastery isn't about domination, it's about harmonization. When you use these things together in a harmonized way, when you stop fighting and you start listening, then your emotions become your guide instead of an obstacle. So, yeah, that's it. That's basically it. See ya.